Would you please describe the relationship between the soul, mental, astral, causal, and physical bodies?
Okay. Soul is this divine piece of God. And soul, coming into creation, has all of the basic essence or qualities that the divine has, except that it has no experience. It has no way of understanding what it is that it is. So in creation, the Creator created these worlds through which soul can gain experience. And through this experience it begins to understand life and itself. And it begins to develop a consciousness, or even more so, an awareness of itself. And in that awareness it begins to discover its nature is divine, and it begins to learn how to express this divine nature. So, these basic worlds were created, which include the physical world, which is the world of mass. It's a world of solid density. And in this world, soul learns to get around and to maneuver things, but at a rate that is slower, where slow rate produces a greater density, where soul has a greater opportunity to gradually move and unfold, to move from point A to point B, to be able to take the time to analyze and understand the world about it. So the world moves at a pace that is easier for soul to know. In the physical world, there are dimensions or degrees of physicality, and these degrees of physicality go from the very dense into the less dense and more plastic, so to speak. And so as it moves up or moves about into these other worlds of the physical dimension, it begins to have a greater freedom to move about and to work with physical things. The astral world is the second world, and the astral world is basically about drama and emotions. And it is in this world that soul begins to experience the ideas of happiness, anger, love, sadness, and all of the other kinds of emotions. But it's in a world where that is the natural state. And so soul is able to place its attention in that world and experience that world. In the physical world, getting back to that, soul develops consciousness that is relative to the physical plane. It is through this consciousness that soul is able to maintain a continuity from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime of the physical world. It begins to understand it each time it comes in. It acquires a new life, a new consciousness in that life, but soul itself has enough experience over time that it begins to understand these and become more familiar with these consciousnesses and begins to be able to work them better and better and better until it just matures into the higher physical worlds. In the astral world it does the same thing. It develops a consciousness in the astral body and it becomes familiar with it and over time learns to work with it and grow with it and unfold into it until it has mastered these worlds of emotions and these worlds of drama. In the causal world, it develops a consciousness there and an awareness there in which it learns about past lives, future lives, but it also begins to learn about the history of all of the worlds and all of the universes of duality, to where it begins to see how all of these worlds grew and the civilizations came and went, and how life is understood. And it isn't just a physical life like we know it, but there are millions and millions probably of different life forms and different ways of understanding life and understanding, movement and all of the things that we learn. So soul has this wonderful opportunity to really begin to learn about all of these lives and all of these worlds, not just its own past lives. In the mental world, soul develops is mostly mind stuff. It's mostly about thinking, analytical, and contains numbers and music and logics and philosophies and all of the great so-called wisdoms of all of the worlds that are from the physical on up. And soul has a mental mind also, and then the mental body itself is a giant mind. And soul, as it becomes familiar with that, begins to learn, to grow and unfold, and to develop. And everything that it does in all of these bodies, it becomes aware of, and it takes within itself. The etheric body is what we call the intuition. The etheric body is this very light, delicate energy field that soul wraps around itself. And in it, soul is able to communicate. It's able to send an impulse of itself. And this impulse is sent to these various bodies in what we might call intuition, or knowledge, or ESP, or psychic awareness, or any number of ways in which it does. And soul uses the intuitive faculty to communicate to these bodies. It uses its awareness of these bodies to gain and to learn and to unfold. In the beginning, soul doesn't realize that it's soul. It just realizes the experiences that it's having in that lifetime. And in the beginning, it doesn't understand life or death. It just is, then it isn't, then it is, then it isn't. Until it goes and has enough experiences that when it comes in, it says, oh, I've been here before, has a kind of deja vu. Or has an understanding, like a child has the ability immediately to live in that body with that sophisticated brain and understanding, and develop a quick, easy way to learn to talk and speak and run and play and do all of these things and just mature and grow and unfold until it's a capable human being. And so soul gathers from each life and each body an understanding of a manifestation or a way of life. And in all of this, it accumulates and becomes aware. And as it becomes aware, it realizes itself as separate because it is aware, it is not conscious. Conscious is a state that is in each one of these bodies, a human conscious or physical and astral conscious or causal. And soul can become aware of all these things, just like here in our bodies, we can think and feel at the same time. We can taste good chocolate, it feels good, and we can think about it and do it all at one time. That's quite a sophisticated thing, But soul is aware immediately and knows. So only soul knows, but the minds think and analyze and create a logic and create a world that is suited for that specific plane. So soul is aware, again, that's separate from knowledge or information, data. And soul sees and knows. And that's the difference between soul and these other bodies.